Hey guys, it's Graham. What's cracking? This is my review of A Spell for Revolution, Book 2 in the Traitor to the Crown series by C.C. Finley. It is 102 freaking degrees today, and that's not all that's heating up, as Proctor Brown, the Patriot Witch, and his cohort Deborah, they keeping bare arms, if you know what I'm saying. Chicka chicka bow wow. He says, "Give me liberty or give me death," and she goes, "Oh, I'll give you a third option." Woohoo! But I digress. No, I'm getting ahead of myself. Whatever. This book was a lot cooler than the first one. Not that I'm like dogging on the first one. I was just kind of expecting this one to be even keel. Like, okay, just more of the same. Advance the story, but yeah, as far as like my emotional reaction to it, I'd be like, okay, high 3, low 4 stars. Solid 4 on this one. So it's been a year since the end of the events in book 1. Even though, okay, so slight backtrack here. I looked it up. All 3 of these books came out in 2009. I just don't think I heard about them until 2011, and that's when I read The Patriot Witch. So even though like a regular series, he would have time pass in between each book, like they all came out at once. And it's been a year now. Things are truly underway with the rebellion. That means it's 1776 now, and you got the whole bit with the Continental Congress needing to get money to the troops, or else the Continental Army is pretty much going to be disbanded after the new year. There's this whole like secret war going on as the main war is going on. It's that genre. It's not necessarily, I mean, I guess there's some kind of hair to split between what's alternate history and secret history. And that's, in the secret history, you're not changing any known or documented events. You're just telling a story of like, oh, and by the way, this was happening in the meantime. What's cool is, like, it shows the whole spiritual side of it. There's like, as Proctor and Deborah ended up traveling through Virginia and meeting up with George Washington's army and seeing his troops and stuff, they can see ghosts of redcoats that are operating at the behest of a necromancer somewhere, moving between the troops and like putting ghost shackles on them. And whatever they do, it makes them uncomfortable. It wears them down. It breaks their spirit. And you see that there's a spiritual component to the war. And they meet Tom Paine, the guy who wrote the Common Sense pamphlet, and they one of them says in an offhand way, like, "Oh, these are the times that try men's souls," and he's like, "Hey, you're onto something there," and he starts writing it down, and like it works. It doesn't change the facts of anything. It just shows like, okay, this is where the inspiration came for him writing that. The central question of this book, as they're going around trying to figure out how to fortify the army and the nation spiritually against the ghostly foes that they're facing, on the king's side, is like, how do you rally and unite these people in one spiritual cause? One of the spiritual advantages that the redcoats have is that they're all united under the English banner, and they all celebrate Coronation Day, and they all recognize King George as their king. It's that sense of cohesive unity that gives them and their armed forces power, whereas in the Americas, you've got like, oh, I'm not an American, I'm a Virginian. I'm not an American, I'm from Connecticut. I'm not an American, I'm from New York or Massachusetts or whatever. And when you get into religious divisions and distinctions, it's even more intense. You've got your Catholics and your Presbyterians, and Quakers play a big role. But then they end up uniting under the banner of the American flag. Betsy Ross has a role to play in this, and Proctor and Deborah find themselves crossing the Delaware the day after Christmas on the attack at Trenton. And they find the solution as Proctor ends up being the flag bearer, and everybody, like, the Americans are emboldened and spiritually recharged by the flag of America. It's just, it's like, heck yeah. Love it. This is the kind of bullcrap I would write. I say bullcrap in the most affectionate and loving sense. Like, do you guys remember the 2-page spread from Patriots game that I drew, where it's like on the left side it's all the Brits and mages and skeletal thralls and stuff, and on the right side it's like Calvin and all the dead technomancer ghosts and like the ghost of George Washington with a rifle and a sword, whatever. Like, heck yeah, I am all about that. This I say bullcrap, but I mean that in the good way. And seems that Mr. C.C. Finley here is at least a kindred spirit in terms of his imagination, but he does treat it just a little bit more seriously than I do in mine. Like, he's not so gauche with it all. I won't spoil the ending because I'm going to give this one a recommendation. Like, to get to this book, it's definitely worth it to read Patriot Witch. Blah, 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 blah. Sorry, my brain is melting. Did I mention it's 102 degrees outside? Patriot Witch is fine. This one is even better, and it's got me excited for the Demon Redcoat, which is tomorrow. Even if the Demon Redcoat is only as good as Patriot Witch, like even if the true high mark is A Spell for Revolution, like overall these three books make for a very enjoyable trilogy, and if it lands well, I will probably get the paperbacks for my library over time. But this is very good historical fiction, and I like it. I dig it. Well done. I think you guys will dig it too, but I'll let you know how it lands tomorrow. So next time, God bless America. See you out there.